What's happening, YouTube? So right now, man, I'm about to get into a reaction video, man. I seen a video that kind of caught my attention, man. And it's about the move that the New York Knicks just made, trading for OG Anunoby. As of today, January 7th, 2024, the Knicks are 4-0 since the trade, man. So it looks like they knew what they were doing. Personally, from what I've seen, I think OG Anunoby, I think he adds great spacing because he doesn't have to score in order to actually have impact on the court. So he's providing great spacing. He's a decent shooter. He's an excellent defender. Adds a different dynamic to the Knicks team. I think they're #1 in defensive rating since they added him. They actually look really, really good since the trade, man. So anyway, man, the video that I'm about to react to is by Hoops Digest. I don't think we realize what the New York Knicks just did. So, not gonna waste too much more of your time, man. Let's go ahead and get to the video.
New York acquired 3-and-D specialist OG Anunoby and 2 other players from the Raptors. SA, talk to me. You like the trade?
I'm not moved. I'm not moved. I'm not moved. Let me say this. I'm not moved. Let me say this. I'm not moved. Let me say this.
So, it's been a little over a week at this point since the New York Knicks went out and acquired this man from the Toronto Raptors. And in OG Anunoby's tenure as a New York Knicks so far, he is averaging a whopping 12 points, 5 rebounds, and just over 1 assist per game. And some of you are probably wondering, why the hell are we talking about this guy? Well, ever since that trade became a reality, the Knicks have yet to lose a game at the time I'm recording this video. They're posting one of the most historical net ratings through any stretch of basketball that we have ever seen. And OG Anunoby's plus minus so far, it's something that you'd only see out of a video game. But trust me,
Dude, 74 plus minus, man. That is crazy. And it's even more crazy to think that, like, OG Anunoby, man, typically he guards the other team's best player. So it goes to show you how effective he's been on the defensive side of the ball. So man, this is really impressive. I know it's only, I think what, 4 or 5 games or so, but just to have that type of plus minus 74, that's bonkers, man. So anyway, back to the video.
You guys, the numbers that we're seeing so far, that is only half of the story. Because the film that we've seen so far, on the other hand, it's almost something that you need to see to believe. But before we get into that, today's video is brought to you by our friends at Good Shop. Good Shop is the ultimate meat and seafood subscription service that provides you seamless access to a number of different high-quality products. YouTube, code HoopsDie for 100 Good Shop. So when the New York Knicks initially made this trade, acquiring OG Anunoby alongside both Malachi Flynn and Precious Achiuwa in exchange for, of course, Barrett Quickly and a future second-round pick, I mean, sure, it absolutely made headlines, and it even caught a fair share of the NBA world.
And I'm not gonna lie, man. As far as like trading like OG Anunoby for RJ Barrett, even though Barrett is a pretty decent scorer, man, he's more efficient this year. He actually has better shooting splits. But his impact on the defensive side of the ball, it did leave a little bit left to be desired. So I kind of thought that was an even swap, but losing Quickly, I thought that the Knicks were actually going to regret that because Quickly is actually an excellent spark off the bench. He's a very aggressive player. He's, his last name is Quickly, but he's a very quick guard, a good facilitator. He's a decent defender. So I actually thought that, there weren't really no clear like winners and losers of the trade, but I thought if we were to pick a winner, I thought Toronto actually won the trade. And it's actually crazy looking back in retrospect, like how much Anunoby's impact on the Knicks actually meant, and even with losing Quickly. So, but that's odd to say the least.
I would say by surprise for the most part, New York Knicks fans being included. But it's just the fact that initially when this happened at least, nobody was really sure how much this necessarily moved the needle for either team's perspective. Because I mean, from what the rumors had been telling us at least, OG had been one of the more highly coveted trade targets in the league over these last couple of years. And when New York ends up getting their hands on him and their title odds literally don't even budge, yeah, some of you Knicks fans out there, you probably weren't too happy. But now what we're gonna do?
I actually seen that graphic, man. I've seen that graphic before on Facebook. They said that the Knicks odds were the same before and after the trade. So a lot of people thought that Anunoby's impact was going to be very minuscule. So
fast forward about a week or so after New York actually pulled the trigger on this trade, and we're going to see where they currently sit. Now, yes, I get it. This is a very small sample size that we're working with here. But their offense, according to the numbers at least, has looked like one of the best in all of basketball with OG plugged into it.
Oh,
their
wow.
defense has seemingly improved leaps and bounds in a matter
All right.
days.
So I knew that their defensive rating went up, but I did not know that their offensive rating was that high. That's what I mean by spacing with Anunoby, man. He doesn't really need the ball to be successful. He's a good spot-up shooter. You can just hang out in the corner, look for Jalen Brunson to dish it out to him, and guess what? Now you have instant offense, and he's very efficient, man. But number one, man, for offensive rating, I thought the Pacers had that, but, man, that's a lot of impact.
What this guy has been able to showcase on the court, and not even to mention, they're just flat out bullying their way through some of these games. So, I mean, is a guy who's putting up averages this season of around 15, 4, and 2.5 per game up to this point, really making this drastic of a difference for this team? You guys, I'm not even sure words can do it justice. Now, when you're talking about a guy like OG Anunoby, whether it's his averages, his shooting splits, or even just his overall effort on either side.
Hold on a second. Look at these splits. Very, very efficient shooter. You know, free throw percentage is a little bit low, but shooting, 49% from the field, 38% from three. Like you can't ask for better shooting splits for a guy that doesn't need the ball in his hands. I would like the free throw percentage to be in the 80s, but, I'll take 74 just because he's so efficient from behind the arc. But impressive,
on the
man.
Floor, it's pretty clear that when you sit back and look at the film on this guy, he is pretty much the pure definition of an elite level 3-and-D piece. And while it's probably also true that a guy like OG, especially with his skill set, could fit almost seamlessly into any NBA rotation that you look at, you cannot overstate how desperately the Knicks needed a guy like this. Let's start by looking into their quote-unquote new look style of offense. Because this side of the ball for this team this season, it was definitely not the issue. I mean, for the most part, you have Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle leading the way and initiating this offense on some pretty efficient numbers.
And Brunson, man, hey, he better be an all-star. He is arguably one of the best point guards in the game right now. And look at both of these guys, man. Look at their stats. 26, shooting 43% from three. Jeez, man. And Randall had a rough start to the year, man. I'm happy that he actually made a comeback, man. He's getting back to normal, man. But the start of the year for Randall was tough to watch, man. I'm not going to lie. Historically bad. And he actually came back and, look at his percentages now, shooting, 47% from the field, averaging, close to 25 a game. This dynamic duo, man, is really all you need. I think Barrett was actually clogging up a lot of opportunities. So Brunson, man, like I said, I'm team Brunson. I like his game. He's smooth. He could go off anytime for like 38, 40, just like that, and be very efficient while doing it, man. So anyway, back to the video.
So far throughout the season. Then there's pieces like new acquisition Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Quentin Grimes, etc., who have all done a phenomenal job this season in terms of stretching the floor from the perimeter as their.
Like I said, man, quickly, if you look at his 40% from three, like I said, I mean, he's a great player, but Anunoby shoots pretty efficient too. from behind the field. So
numbers in this regard would absolutely back that up. But then when you throw OG into the mix with different assets like his size, his explosiveness, and of course the perimeter shooting on top of all of that, you have the perfect formula. Just think about this trade in the simplest sense possible from the Knicks perspective. You're essentially just subtracting what many Knicks fans consider to be a bad contract and a player who is too ball dominant to seemingly succeed in an offense that already features Brunson and Randle who do this more effectively. Then it's really just a substitution of high-level perimeter offense for high-level perimeter offense coupled with off-ball movement, high-level interior offense, and of course the elite-level defense. I mean, guys, OG isn't just right there in terms of the offensive production on the outside compared to Emmanuel Quickley. He is also one of the most elite corner shooters in all of basketball this season, emphasizing the point even more.
Hey, man, and it kind of makes me think about something, man. I actually got a video, and it's actually doing surprisingly well, man. I'll go ahead and put it at the top right up here. Check that out, man. It's about the Clippers. And I mentioned in a video before that video that it's only one basketball, man. So when you have too many ball-dominant players, it kind of messes up the flow of the offense. So when you have RJ Barrett and Jalen Brunson, they both need the ball. Of course, I'd rather Brunson have the ball, but RJ Barrett needed the ball to be successful. With Anunoby, he doesn't need the ball. Therefore, the flow of the offense is a lot more efficient. It's smoother. Opportunities are not getting interrupted due to, hey, the only way you get your flow is if you have the ball in hands. So, and if you look at the Clippers now, you know, James Harden, he is the primary ball handler. Paul George, he's able to play off the ball. Kawhi Leonard, he's able to play off the ball. The only reason why I predicted that it wouldn't work is if you had Westbrook in the lineup, who, guess what, needs the ball. You know, so this scenario, in retrospect, you know, looking at it, man, this was the best thing that could happen to the Knicks, actually moving Barrett, which it gives Barrett the opportunity to actually step into his own. You know, of course, I don't think the Raptors is technically his team. You still have Siakam there, but he has more opportunities without being there with Brunson. So it's going to be interesting to see how both teams move after these trades, which I think the Knicks, how it's looking, look like they won a trade.
Or that he can be efficient without the basketball. And whether that actually involves him spotting up on the outside, quick cuts to the rim to either look to score or create ball movement to find an open look, or even things as simple as more second chance opportunities. Point being in all of this is that this offense has never been more free-flowing and spread out than it is right now. And because of that, you are seeing the #1 offensive rating in all of basketball. And yes, even though OG's numbers as a Knick so far probably aren't sticking out to most of you that have been watching these games, I mean, sometimes, and especially in this case, the impact is much greater than the production.
Yes.
But I'll just tell you guys this. If you want to talk about production, look no further than what this guy's done on the defensive end since he showed up in New York. Because the Knicks collectively this season, with having lower tier defensive numbers pretty much all across the board, it's safe to say that they were well below the threshold of what was to be expected from a roster like this. But guys, I mean, now they're top 2 in the league and they ain't #2. So that leaves the question, what has OG
I'm thinking about something, man. Let's go ahead and look at something. Let's see. New York Knicks. Because I would like to see the Knicks last 4 teams that they played. So let's look at this. The games that they just played since adding Anunoby. All right, so they played the Wizards. They're supposed to win that game. 76ers blew them out the water, which is a surprise because 76ers are actually really good. Embiid is playing on I think he had a slightly down year last year compared to this year, even though he won MVP. I think this year he's actually having a more efficient year, a better year. The 76ers, they're actually performing very well after losing James Harden because guess what? You know, you got Tyrese Maxey stepping into his own. Bulls, you're supposed to win that game. Timberwolves, that was a really good win. that was a really good win because the Timberwolves are, as of today, they're number 1 in the West. And they actually beat them by a pretty decent margin by 6 points. So, you know, out of those last 4 games, 2 of them, you know, were tough games, but the other 2, man, you're supposed to win those games, man. So I'll kind of pump the brakes now after looking at that. I don't know. Let's get back to the video.
Done to them. Well, to start, he's probably one of the most physically demanding defenders in the game today. He can guard any position on the court 1 through 5. His footwork is exceptional in almost any situation, no matter who he is covering. So yeah, it's not really what he can do, it's more so what he can't. And what's easily been the best part about all of this is that we've seen Tibbs waste absolutely 0 time utilizing this new strength. I mean, it has literally been every single game that we have seen OG Anunoby in a New York Knicks uniform up to this point, where he has done the majority, if not all of the work in terms of guarding the opposition's best player. Like, no matter what lens you look at it through, in the purest sense possible, he is the lockdown defender and wing stopper that this team desperately needed to take that next step. And well, whether it's the improvements on offense that we're seeing, the stellar play on defense, or hell, even just the impact he's having on this entire roster, that's where I want to hear what you guys have to think. So please let me know in the comments, what has surprised you the most from everything that we've seen from this team since they pulled the trigger on this trade? And as always, if you had to, predict what the record is going to be heading into the 2024 playoffs. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate y'all more than anything, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Great video, man. Great video. Fantastic, high quality production. All right, so to answer your question, Hoops Digest. Let's see, what's the Knicks record right as we speak? Right now, they're sitting at number 6 in the East, 21-15. They're tied for 4th place. So, I say, man, we're roughly halfway through the season. Wow, man, time flies. So, the East is really, really tough, man. Celtics, number 1. I don't see anybody dethroning them. Milwaukee Bucks. Damian Lillard has been having some off nights, man. Oh, my goodness. I seen a graphic. If I could find it, I'll go ahead and put it up, man. But Damian Lillard, man, he had to have like 10 very atrocious, man, like terrible shooting nights. Like 3 for 11. And, I'm sorry, 3 for 21 and stuff. Like it's absurd, man. But this is a very, very tight race in the East. Wow. From 8 to 1, it's a very tight race. Well, from 8 to 3, because the number 8 seed is the Miami Heat, and they've been on a tear, man. They've been looking good. I like that rookie. But anyway, man, to predict the record, I kind of see them sitting in this ballpark, you know, between 4 seed, 6 seed. I'll say, you know, roughly 30 losses, maybe. I mean, I see them being a 50-win team. But anyway, man, that's it for this reaction video, man. Go ahead, if you want to see more of these reactions, man, go ahead, drop a like, comment, let me know what you want me to react to. I'm gonna kind of chill on these, man. I wanted to kind of talk about the New York Knicks and watch Hoops Digest video, which, by the way, I need to sub to them. But you know, for the most part, man, I'm actually been coming out with my own stuff, man. My own deep dives. I got one coming out soon on Sam Presti. So once that's out, I'll go ahead and put it here on the end card. Clippers video doing well. Deuce Talks videos doing well. I got a lot to offer as far as basketball content goes on the channel, man. So anyway, man, appreciate you watching. Like, comment, subscribe, dislike, whatever, man. Just do something. But anyway, love you. Peace.